Hey guys, so I have another dupes video. I enjoy doing these, honestly. I think that they are so much fun, and I just truly enjoy them. I enjoy watching them as much as I enjoy doing them, and so I love to find something that is cheaper and that saves me money. I love it, absolutely love it. So I have went through, I don't think I bought anything new specifically for this collection or for this video. It was all in my collection before I decided to gather it all together, because I was looking and I was like, okay, I need to go and see if I can find something for this, this, and this, and this, so that I can go to the store. I didn't have to. I had it all. Had it all in the collection already. So imagine that, with all this makeup I have, that I had all I needed. So I'm going to do half my face with drugstore makeup, half my face with high-end stuff. And let me just put a little disclaimer. I don't pay full price for much of my high-end stuff. I'm not gonna say I never, but for the most part, I pay little to nothing for my high-end stuff due to being a BoxyCharm subscriber, and also just finding some good deals here and there. So some of the things I have, I don't know if I have any in this video, but a lot of the higher end things that I have are more like sample sizes and trial sizes, things like that. So I don't spend a ton of money on high-end stuff. I do spend it, I'm not saying I don't, but it's not like I go and drop tons of cash on high-end stuff, because I like a good deal. I like a bargain. So I'm searching for a bargain just like you. So without further ado, the only thing I don't have is a dupe for an eyeshadow. That's the only thing I don't have. But I said in a recent video that I would use my Sigma Untamed palette for you guys to see, so I thought I would do that today. I thought that I would show you this, and I'm going to kind of speed through this. It's not going to be necessarily focused on this, and it's not going to be a very intense look, but I'll show you the look so that you can see how these form and get your take on it. So I'm just going to take the brush that's in the palette and use it first, and I am going to blend this boho shade just through the crease. I'm going to take this camouflage shade, and I'm going to use the other end of the brush that came in the palette, and I'm just going to put this in this outer corner ever so lightly. And for all over the lid, I'm going to put this gold shade. It's called Hustle. I'm going to use my finger. Just blend the edges of the gold and the green together. I'm going to dip into this shade here called Envy with my finger, and then just tap over it ever so slightly. Okay, that's it for the eyes for the moment. The only reason I didn't have like a dupe palette is because I could have gotten one, but there's no point in me having a palette in my collection. There's not a dupe that I know of for the, say that there was. There's no point in me having this and a dupe in my collection. Like the Jackie Aina palette from ABH, I did a video on a dupe from C Color on it, and I've actually since given that dupe away because I didn't need both of those in my collection, because they're the same colors, you know. I don't need two palettes of the same nature, so that's why I just went ahead and I just gave it away. So the eyes are all the same. There's no like dupe comparison there, but I did want to use this in a video, and this just seemed like a good time to do it. So I'm rocking green on my nails, my sweater, and my eyes today. I guess I'm in a green kind of mood. So again, this is going to be high-end. This is going to be drugstore. So I'm going to start with the high-end side. This is one of my favorite primers, honestly. I love this primer. I got it from BoxyCharm, and I paid little to nothing for it. It's the Smashbox Photo Finish Super Light Smooth and Blur Primer. So it's kind of like a lotion texture. So I have to remember not to rub it all over my face. I'll do half of the face. So it doesn't say that it's necessarily a mattifying primer, but I find that it does mattify really well. And of course, I'm going for matte foundations most of the time, so that is probably why it helps. But this is one of the best primers I've ever tried. So in trying to find a dupe for it, just going through my collection, I wasn't really looking for one specifically for that one, but I just came upon this. This is my One Heck of a Blot from Soap and Glory. I love this primer too, you guys know. So when I came upon it, I was like, oh my gosh, that's why I love them. They are so similar. And I'm actually having to really squeeze this one because I've used it so much. Okay. I've really loved on this Soap and Glory. Really loved on her. Put that on this side of the face. And it is a lotion texture. I will squirt some out. I meant to show you. I apologize. Here's the texture of it. It's a lotion too. So same kind of deal as the Smashbox. I mean, like, I don't see a difference. Of course, it's just a primer, but I don't see a difference between one side and the other. And so the Soap and Glory, one of the claims of it is that it is a shine block 12-hour matte primer and also pore shrink. So of course this one is smooth and blur. That is the, you know, pore factor in this one. So I think they're pretty similar, guys. Even though the claim on the Smashbox isn't necessarily mattification, I still feel that it's pretty matte. This is a new little doozy in my collection. Again, this came from BoxyCharm, so I did not pay full price for this, but you guys know my love for Natasha Denona, so they had her pore vanishing matte foundation. It's called the Transfer Matte. They had this on sale. I paid $12 for this. I think it's regularly like $42, $48. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to squirt just a little bit on the back of my hand. I'm going to use it on this side of my face, and I'm going to use a brush today. I look like a character from a like a superhero movie or something, sci-fi, where they have like one side of their face, you know? Yeah. Crazy, I know. So the Drugstore Dupe for this, and I know it's over a little bit, but it's going to kind of overlap a little bit, so we're just gonna have to deal with it. But the Drugstore Dupe for this is the Hailey's. This is the Reset Liquid Matte Foundation. I love this foundation. It's so good. I think it's like $20. You can pick it up at Target or you can order online. I love it. It's just good. It's good, guys. So I cleaned my brush off on my little rag here. It didn't like get washed or anything, but I mean, the product's mostly out of it. Okay, so I think I've got everything kind of blended in. It's not a perfect like color match, but it's good enough. So I'll get a little close so you guys can kind of see. This is the Natasha Denona side, the Hailey side. Now on Natasha's side, I can tell that she definitely, it does help the pores a little bit more. So that could be the foundation and it could be the primer. However, I do believe that it is the foundation because it says pore vanishing. So I think that has something to do with it. But I mean, it's not like I have huge pores, but I do have pores. So let's not kid ourselves. I do have pores. So I think it still looks pretty good, honestly. Pretty spot on. It dries down the same. They both dry down relatively quickly. I mean, it's not like too fast, but they do dry down pretty quick. And I like the finish of just the foundation by itself. So get rid of my foundation lips real quick. Okay, so for concealer, I'm going to be using the Too Faced Born This Way Multi-Use Sculpting Concealer. This is in the shade Shortbread, and this is on the high-end side. This was in a BoxyCharm, so I didn't actually pay like cash for this. I paid for the box, but I didn't pay for this specifically. So I'm not going to put a ton on. because when you're doing half your face, it's a little hard to do. Okay. So we'll blend that out with the brush as well. I like this concealer because it's not mattifying. It's a hydrating concealer, and it has so much coverage. It's like one of the best concealers that there are. One of the dupes for that concealer is one of my favorites, is the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer. One of my favorites, and that actually is very, very comparable to the Too Faced. So if that's something you want to try out, go check it out. This concealer, however, is also a dupe, and one of the reasons I love it. This is the ColourPop Pretty Fresh Hyaluronic Creamy Concealer. So that's what I'm going to be using today. I think I like the applicator on this so much. I don't know. I just love this product. It's so good. I love it so much. I repurchased it already, and if you saw my recent Ulta haul, you'll know that I've already repurchased. You can kind of compare. I think the coverage is very, very similar. I've always thought that I got great coverage out of the Pretty Fresh, and then of course I tried that one before I tried the Too Faced, and then once I got the Too Faced, I was like, man, this gives great coverage. I just think it's great. So let's set the under eye, and that brings me to my next product. My Hourglass. This is the Ambient Lighting Edit Sculpture, and we're going to focus on one product out of here. It's this. It is the Finishing Powder Diffused Light, if I can talk, which I never can, you guys know. So I'm going to get my little concealer brush here, and we're going to use that to set the under eye. So I'm just going to make sure it's all blended, crease free. So this will help brighten the under eye. See how I see the brightness. I hope you guys do too. That product, I believe, is available for purchase by itself from Hourglass, so that's why I chose to use it. But I think that this palette is still available because it is their this is their holiday collection. The first time I used that, I was like, oh, that Hourglass powder really reminds me of something, and I know exactly what it is. And it was this Wet n Wild Color Icon Bronzer in the shade Reserve Your Cabana. And of course, I love this, you guys know, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna try to use those together and see what it looks like. So that's what we're gonna do today. I'm setting this under eye with the Reserve Your Cabana. So you can compare. I think they look really similar. And I think that they perform very similarly as well. So Hourglass is an expensive brand, I'm not gonna lie. So having a Wet n Wild product be comparable, even better. To set the entire face, I am going to, I'm going to use my Too Faced. This is the Ethereal Setting Powder in the shade Translucent. And this also came in a BoxyCharm, so I did not actually like go out and buy this. Here's what it looks like when it comes out. So I'm just going to set the rest of my face. Because we know I'm oily. And I have to be set. I'm not getting my under eye, I'm getting just the side of my nose there. Just a reminder, I'm cleaning my brushes in between so that there's no like cross contamination or whatever. So this side of my face I set with the Born This Way powder, and this side I'm going to set with the e.l.f. Halo Glow setting powder. You guys know that this is one of my favorite setting powders actually. And whenever I use a matte foundation, I like to use a more glowy setting powder. And I had never used a glowing setting powder before this one, so you know, this was the first time. But I do like this because I do use a matte foundation. So I'm just going to dip in. This is what it looks like when I pour it out, and I'm just going to set this side of my face. So this is in the shade Light, and this is in the shade Translucent. So if you look at them, you can kind of see that this one's a little bit lighter than the Translucent shade. So there is a little bit of a color difference, I can tell. This side is the Too Faced. This side is the e.l.f. This one even looks a little bit more glowy than this side. So this is supposed to be like more of a radiant powder too. So that's why I wanted to compare the two. But they are very similar, and this is a very good dupe, and I actually prefer this over this. Let's be honest. For bronzer. So again, this is a palette, but they sell these individually. This is the Hoola bronzer. This is the Cheek Leaders palette. They don't make this anymore, but they do sell the Hoola bronzer by itself. So that's what we're going to use for bronzer today. It doesn't take much of this. It's very pigmented, so be careful. So I'm just going to... What I like about the Hoola bronzer is that it is a more cool tone bronzer, and I actually prefer a cool tone bronzer, if I can talk. And some people don't. They like it up to be more warm tone, but I don't know if it's the undertone of my skin being warm that I like a cooler bronzer to kind of balance. I don't know. I'm not exactly sure why. But anyway, I picked this because it is a cooler tone bronzer. And when I swatched them on my arm, they look so similar. So this is the e.l.f. Primer Infused Bronzer. It's in the shade Forever Sunkissed. So here's what it looks like. It's pigmented as well, so be careful with that when you use it. So this is Hoola, and this is the e.l.f. And I will swatch these for you just because I want you to see just how similar that they truly are. So this one is Hoola. Okay. And this one is the e.l.f. So they are very similar. It don't look, I swear in person they do. They look so similar. But on camera they just don't. Let me get a little bit more of the e.l.f. Maybe I just didn't dig my finger in there enough. But I promise you, in person, they look so similar. It's uncanny. But sometimes on camera, it just doesn't translate. But you can tell from this side how it looks to this side. They do have that cooler undertone, like I said. And I actually prefer it. And you can actually, if I wanted to, I don't do this all the time, but I'll do it today for the video's sake. If I wanted to contour, I'm actually going to start with the e.l.f. because it's right here on top. If I wanted to contour, I could take just a little brush and contour a little bit because it is a cooler tone. And then I'm dipping into Hoola. So you can see what contour looks like. I'm just too heavy-handed. That's why I don't usually do contour. It just looks odd on me. It's supposed to make your face look snatched, you know, but I have a fat face and there's no concealing that I do. So, and I always bronze the sides of my nose. You can contour those, but anyway, it's an ashy, like, cooler tone, so that's why it's good for contour. That's all. That's all. So I'm going to go back to my Hourglass palette, and the only reason I chose this is because when I used it first, I was like, oh my gosh, that is so dang similar to another product that I'm going to show you. But I love this blush. This is like one of my favorite blushes at the moment. So it is the Strobe Blush Vibrant Flush. I'm not sure if that's a limited edition shade or if that is one that you can purchase separately, but I'm going to give you a dupe so you don't really have to go purchase this. And these are super pigmented. Originally, NARS Orgasm Blush is like the biggest thing that everybody talks about. And so I was like, oh, I'll just do the dupe for that because everybody talks about it. So I was told that the NARS Orgasm Blush has tons of dupes, and one of those was the Milani Luminoso blush. So I got NARS Orgasm in a gift set from Sephora, and I swatched them, and I'm like, the NARS looks way more pink than the Luminoso. But as soon as I swatched this, I was like, that looks like my Hourglass blush. That looks exactly like it. And I love my Hourglass blush. So if I ever make it through my Hourglass palette and I need a refill, I have my Milani right here and I won't have to worry. So this is also a baked product, and I'm pretty sure Hourglass, their products are baked as well, which means it's going to last forever. Super pigmented, super, so be careful with it. And I think it might be just a little bit more luminous, and possibly because of what's underneath, you could tell that this side of my face was more luminous than this. So that could be the reason, but I'll swatch it and let you see the reason I thought they were so similar. Here is the Hourglass. Okay. Then I'm going to swatch the Milani right next to it. So very similar, and this one is more luminous, I can tell. Is it exact? No, but they are so similar. I just think that they're incredibly similar. Can I say similar one more time? Because I think that they are. So I don't have to wonder what I'm going to do when I run out of my Hourglass. If that ever happens, you know, I have a ton of makeup. If I'm ever going to make it through is yet to be seen. But I actually like this better than this because of the luminosity. So I'm not afraid of the luminosity in a blush. Some people don't like it, but I don't care. I like it. So then for highlighter, I picked up the Benefit Cookie highlighter. This was on sale. I don't remember how long ago it was, but it's been kind of recent. Everybody just talked about how good this highlighter was, and so I thought I've got to try it. So I got it for half price, which was pretty good. And I was just reading here on the back, this like just caught my eye. It says a swirl of golden pearl. Remember that. So we'll use this today to highlight. So this is so super pigmented. You need not a lot at all. See that? So incredibly pigmented. So remember I said I read on the back, it said a swirl of golden pearl. This is the dupe. This is the Maybelline Master Chrome. And it is in the shade, I had to look it up because it's actually not on the back, but the number is 250. So I looked it up in the order because it came from Ulta. And the shade, the name of it is called Molten Pearl. Golden Pearl and Molten Pearl. I mean, you can't get more perfect, can you? I clean my brush off. I'm gonna dip in here. This is super pigmented too, so be careful with it. Ooh. Oh, wow. Okay, I was being very sparing with the cookie, so let's not judge it too harshly against this one because I didn't put on a lot. So let me put just a tiny bit more. Okay. So, cookie. And this is the Drugstore Maybelline. Don't worry, I'm going to swatch it for you so you can see. So here is the Benefit Cookie. And then there is the Maybelline right underneath it. So this one looks more metallic, right? But look at it on the skin, how good the Maybelline looks. Of course, this is beautiful. I'm not saying that it's not. I'm not trying to take away from that. But so good. It's so good, you guys. So I'll give you a close-up of that one so you can kind of see it. Brows are next because I look like I'm sick without them, I tell you. That's my opinion anyway. For brows, I have the Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Wiz. It's in the shade medium brown. I've had one of these before and went through it. I never replaced it because there are so many good drugstore products that I didn't really have to. Then on the drugstore side, I will be using the CoverGirl ultra fine brow pencil, and it's in the shade Honey Brown. And so here's a swatch of both. This is the CoverGirl. This is the Anastasia Beverly Hills. In person, it looks way more close. I promise I'm not just going to keep saying that. It truly does. So I'm going to do these really quick. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of sketch out the brow because I have a little something more. So just to let you know, I'm not doing my regular brows like I normally would. See, I'm just kind of outlining, and I'll show you why I'm doing that. That's not my regular routine because I like a quick routine, but I have a reason for it. So now I'm jumping to the CoverGirl. If you want my honest opinion, the CoverGirl is actually a little bit smoother. You can compare. It just goes on smoother, and it could be that I've used it longer, so the pencil's kind of been worked up. I've not used the Anastasia one very much, so that could be the reason, but that's why. I don't use them a ton, but I do have brow pomades. This is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Dip Brow Pomade, and it is in the shade Soft Brown as well. Well, that was medium brown. This is soft brown. So it has been used quite a bit, but there's still quite a bit left. Let's see how soft it is. Sometimes these dry out really quick. If it's a little dry, if it seems a little bit drier than what I want, what I'll do is I'll take my, like, a setting spray, and I'll put a couple sprays. I think that was 3. And then I'll just kind of like work it around a little bit. This is the reason, because it gets very creamy and smooth. So there's your trick. If you have a brow pomade that's like old and drying up, there's your way to get rid of it, or not get rid of it. There's your way to get use out of it. So I dipped in to the ABH one, and I'm just going to use that to go through my brow. Okay, so I got that through that brow. I'm cleaning my brush off. And so for the drugstore side, I'm going to be using the LA Girl Brow Pomade, and it's in the shade Soft Brown as well. This is a really good brow pomade. I can never talk, y'all. Did I use this in my last dupes video? I can't remember. I think this one looks a little thicker. Don't worry though. I think it's because that one was a little bit more soft and just easy to work with. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go back with the pencil, the ABH pencil. I'm just going to kind of make this a little thicker. To just kind of fix the tail of this one, I'm going back with the CoverGirl pencil. And then one more step. I don't always do this. I usually do a pencil and a gel, and that's it. But just for the sake of the video, just to compare, this is the Milk Kush Fiber Gel, and it's in the shade Dub, D-U-B. That's what the little spoolie looks like on it. I'm just going to kind of set the brows. And then for the drugstore side, I'm going to use the Essence Make Me Brow. This is in the shade Chocolatey Brows. So the wand on it's just a little bit different, but it's still small and it's still a fiber. Yeah, it has filling fibers in it. So after I said that, I was like, wait a minute, did I pull the wrong one? So that just sets the brow in place. So I like to use a pencil and a brow gel. I don't always use a pomade, and if I do, I use a pomade and a brow gel. I don't use a pencil. So I'm not always that extra with my eyebrows. They're not always that much. But yeah, today they were, just because some people use different products and they like different things, and so I wanted to give you different options, and that's why. So even after these dry, I may comb through just a little bit, just to kind of not make them so crunchy. Okay, what I'm going to do is we're going to finish the eyes. And it's going to be so simple. What I'm going to do, I'm going to take a liner brush and go into the shade Camouflage, which is that dark green. That's just going to be a liner. Just to kind of like buff it out a little bit and kind of make it match the top, I'm going to take the boho shade and just kind of buff it. One of my favorite liners that I grab for right now is this Milk Longwear Gel Eyeliner, and it's in the shade CEO, which is like a dark brown. And I'm so close to the end of it. Not super close, but I mean, I've been working my way there. So I'm going to use that on the high-end side. And it truly is long lasting, and it wears so beautifully, like all day. But the dupe for this is not necessarily drugstore, but it's like a drugstore price. This is Mary Kay eyeliner. It's in the shade Deep Brown. It lasts just as long. It's just as good. I love it. I reach for it just as much. So that's the dupe. Not much of a difference. I wish I could find a good drugstore. Well, I do have a good drugstore. Seriously, I wish I could find a good drugstore white eyeliner, but I guess ColourPop is drugstore, so I do have a good drugstore. White would have been really pretty today, but I don't have like a high-end. I don't have many high-end liners, so I have to kind of work with what I'm working with. But, you know. So, my high-end liquid liner, when I first used this, I knew exactly what it was a dupe for. And it has been so easy to work with. And I'm not usually a fan of like brush tips, but I've been a fan of this. This is the Too Faced Better Than Sex Easy Glide Waterproof liquid liner. So it is a brush tip. Such a beautiful tip though. So this is what I'm going to use today on the high end side. Such a good liquid liner. I love it. My sister actually gave me this, so I didn't purchase it. But it's so good. I just absolutely love it. And it's truly waterproof. Like, I just made that line. It's not coming off. So I said a second ago I knew what it was a dupe for, but actually what I meant was I love that liner, and it was so good. And when I tried this next liner, I knew what this liner was a dupe for. This is the NYX Epic Ink Liner. So good. And it is waterproof. It is a brush tip. So I mean, like, they're almost identical, to be quite honest. So I'm going to use that on my drugstore side. Again, so easy to work with. I love it. It's super black, super matte. I don't know if you can tell. Like, even the Too Faced has a little bit of shine to it. But the NYX one is so matte. And it's waterproof. I'm rubbing. It's not coming off. There's no transfer. Love this liner. So when I do run out of my Too Faced, I don't have to replace it. I just have to get another NYX when I run out of it. So, and for mascara, my sister gave me this as well. This was the Too Faced Better Than Sex mascara. I love this. A good dupe for this as well, which is not what I'm using, is the L'Oreal Lash Paradise. It's amazing. I love that. Love that mascara. But once I tried this, I just loved it. Loved it. Fell in love with it. My sister gave it to me. I'd already tried it before she gave it to me, but I still love the mascara. It's really good. I love the hourglass shape on the wand. That's probably my favorite kind of wand. So I'm going to do this on the high end side. Okay. So that's the high-end mascara, the Too Faced Better Than Sex. And as soon as I got that Too Faced Better Than Sex and pulled it out, I was like, oh my gosh, I know exactly what reminds me of this mascara. And it is the ColourPop Volumizing Mascara. This is in the shade Black on Black. I want you to look at the wand. And It is amazing at lengthening and volumizing. It is it's a good mascara. So using this for the drugstore side. Okay, so there are my lashes. This is Too Faced. This is ColourPop. I will say my ColourPop is like close to the end. It is almost dried up. So I did have to work with it a little bit more. But I promise you, when I opened it brand new, it was amazing, amazing, amazing. Well, a couple times after I opened it brand new, usually that's how I have to use mascaras, is a couple times later they turn into amazing mascaras. But I love both of those. They're two of my favorites. I use the ColourPop so much that I've almost used it all. So a great dupe for sure. Okay, moving on to lips. Again, I don't purchase high-end lip liners. I just don't. But I got some in my BoxyCharm, so I tried to dupe them. This is one. It's the Bodyography Pouty Lip Pencil. This is it. I'm going to swatch it for you. That's what it looks like. It's like a pinky nude. So I'm going to line this half of my lips with this. Okay, so there's half my lips lined. That was again Bodyography Pouty. And this is the Drugstore Dupe. This is the Believe Beauty Long Lasting Lip Liner in the shade Barely There. I'm going to swatch it right next to it so you guys can see. This is actually creamier than this. Just wanted to let you know. And it's retractable. It's not like a pencil. So creamy, and I believe that was like $3. So, see if you can tell the difference. Just because you know there's a difference, you can probably tell the difference, but if you didn't, you probably wouldn't be able to. Very pretty. So, for the high-end side, please don't kill me. But this was in my collection, and these two are very close dupes, so that's why I'm using them. This is the Jeffree Star Velour Liquid Lip in Christmas Cookie, one of my favorite colors. So I'm going to use that on the high-end side. And one of the reasons I call these dupes is because they dry down almost exactly the same. This next drugstore, this is, I guess, technically not drugstore, but they have drugstore prices, so that's why I'm calling it drugstore. This is the Morphe liquid lipstick in the shade Virgin. It's like a moussier formula, but it dries down almost exactly the same. It smells so good too. It smells like a vanilla cupcake. These are the swatches. This first one is the Jeffree Star Christmas Cookie, and this one is the Morphe Virgin. So, see it on my lips? It's dried down almost exactly the same. So it's very comparable. I know on camera it looks different. I swear to you, in person it doesn't look that different. So the high end, I don't know if we consider Jeffree Star high end, just by the way. I don't know if you do, but that's one of the more expensive liquid lips I have, so that's why I considered it. And this one is kind of more of an indie brand, so I consider it high end, I guess. Alamar Cosmetics. This is their lip gloss in the shade Birthday Suit. I don't think you can get this shade anymore. However, I got a dupe for you, so don't worry. So I'm very picky when it comes to lip glosses, and I'm not crazy about this one. It's kind of sticky and goopy. So that's why I'm very excited about the drugstore option, because I like it a lot better. In this, this is the Milani Keep It Full Nourishing Lip Plumper, and it's in the shade Prismatic Peach. Now, it's not the pinky color, so they look a little different, but the reflex in them are almost identical. Like when you swatch them. I'll show you right here. This is Milani, and this is the Alamar. And I like the feel of the Milani better. Reflect wise, they are super similar though. And they have like a purple, blue, pink shift. So that's one of the reasons I call them a dupe. So that's them, and that's on my lips. This is Milani, and this is the Alamar. You see this one sticking together? I don't get that so much on the Milani side. And the Alamar side just feels thicker. Really quick before we finish, I'm going to go back with my Benefit cookie. Can you guys guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to hide the brow bone. In the inner corner. Then jumping into the Master Chrome. Okay, so now it's done. So I've been filming for a very long time. I'm afraid my phone is going to cut off on me and then I'm going to lose this footage. So I'm going to try to wrap this up very quickly. I truly, truly love my high-end products. However, I almost prefer a lot of the drugstore products to the high-end. Just truth be told. Looking at my face, I truly, there's a lot on the drugstore side I prefer. And there's so many things out there that are comparable. That's something that we should learn from this, is that we don't have to spend a ton of money to have good products, because the drugstore has stepped up their game so much since when I was like a teenager and buying like CoverGirl and Maybelline, you know, like they have so stepped it up, and there are just so many good things out there now that are so affordable. We don't have to go and buy super expensive things. So don't forget that when you are purchasing your makeup, because I've been guilty of it. I've gotten caught up in the hype of, oh, it's this brand name that everybody's talking about, you know, and whatever. But you can get the same result, if not better, from the drugstore that you can from high end. So, and that is just my 2 cents. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope that I didn't bore you. I hope it's not super long. I'm going to try to edit it down. Story of my life. But I hope you enjoyed, and I hope that it was informative, and that you guys walk away with something new that you can go and purchase at the drugstore, and know that you don't have to go and get it from something high end. You can save some money. So thank you guys for watching. I appreciate you so much, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye, guys.